OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the BTC Zone. Guys, this is going to be an amazing one because obviously, this is presented by Tokeo and OnChain Revolution. But today we have an amazing builder that's building over on Sui. And they're building something truly special, especially to us. They're building BTCFi. One click Bitcoin staking and stuff like that. So we're really excited to kind of dig into what they're building and dig into a lot of stuff that's going on in the Sui ecosystem. We feel like there's a lot of opportunity right now, especially in this dead part where everyone's saying that ordinals are dead and runes are dead and stuff on the Bitcoin side. But so we start looking at other places where we can learn and educate ourselves during this downtime. And today is exactly that. Today we dig into what they're building over on Sui, and it has everything to do with Bitcoin. We here in the Bitcoin ecosystem, no, we just don't sell our Bitcoin, but we find ways to earn with it. We find yield and opportunities like that. And I think that's exactly what we're going to be digging in today. So really excited for that. But first, let's bring in our hosts today, which are going to be the great Yagobi and Guido. Guys, welcome to the BTC Zone.
What up?
Yo.
How are you boys? So good to see you. So happy to be back on the BTC Zone, where we kick things around and talk all things Bitcoin. But we've got to focus on our show of getting things of Bitcoin out. So how do we make that Bitcoin operable, and how do we get you guys some yield? So I'm super excited about today's space. What up, Yagobi?
Hey, how you doing, Guido? What's up, Shizzy? I'm excited for this episode. I'm always excited for these episodes because they're all about education, and a lot of times the episodes end up being about how we can leverage other layers or other environments to scale Bitcoin, and today's no different with that. But I'd love to hear a little bit of some feedback and maybe a short breakdown, maybe for the audience, Guido, if you wouldn't mind, about what the Sui experience has been. For you guys at Tokyo, kind of, you guys are like the glue that's putting together Sui and Bitcoin and all these things. What has it been like?
I barely know where to start with that question. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. We obviously just went live on Sui. The community over there, and you'll get it from speaking to the native guys, are so welcoming. We've established some really, really solid partnerships over there with some of the leading projects in the ecosystem. And it's just been great. Look, we've had a great reception. We've had, rapid streams of downloads coming into Tokyo, plenty of people testing out the experience. It's really just our sort of V1, I suppose, of Tokyo over there. One of the things that, we've found so attractive about Sui is the yield products over there. It's absolutely crazy what's going on over there. There is so many products over there offering such great yield experiences. And the yield experiences like nowhere else. We see, how do I term this? It's kind of almost like recipes of yield creating really great APY. So whether it be, you get in there and do native staking or liquid staking, which you can then restake into a lending and borrowing vault, which you can then sometimes restake, a third time and put together these complex recipes. But, in some cases, the risk profiles do vary. And again, this is not financial advice. But, some of the APRs over there are as high as 30 and 40%. By these mechanisms for staking. So we're super, super excited to bring that to the Bitcoin community. It's something that we're very passionate about. We've spoken about it on the show before. There's 2.2, well, I haven't checked it today, but there's $2.2 trillion worth of liquidity sitting on Bitcoin. And most people are just watching that go up and down like a yo-yo. Certainly seeing gains over periods of time, and, big ups to those that are hodling Bitcoin. But, it's really time that, and we're in a new age where we're seeing the ability to put that kind of Bitcoin to work. And Native, the project that we've got on today, does exactly that.
Yeah, 100%. And like the willingness of people to take their Bitcoin out of their ledgers that's been in there for so long and actually put it on chain and different change and actually earn yield is getting, astronomical right now. You're seeing a lot of people, especially even in TradFi. I mean, we've seen a deal. I mean, there's like a traditional HODL now, right? There's places in TradFi where you can put your Bitcoin and earn yield. So it's awesome to kind of see people are willing to take their Bitcoin and try to get as much as you can off, because in reality, you can live off your Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin can work for you, but you just have to trust and just let it happen.
If you've got a big enough bag, you can certainly do that. And I know some of the the early, kind of, 2012 sort of holders, which were fortunate enough to or were visionaries enough to hodl and stack Bitcoin, do exactly that these days. And they're the people especially that are looking for these complex yield products, or products which are producing yield. We see a very unique environment occurring. There's a lot of different methodology which is being used to put Bitcoin to work. We've seen a massive surge recently in XBTC, the OKX product. People are filling their bags with that, which is more of a synthetic wrap style token. But we're also seeing the emergence of really important MPC layers. And I shout out to Bitcoin builders like Arch and Middle, who are working on those kind of things. We're very close to the Arch family. But there are a lot of big SUI projects that are doing from the other side too. So, your Ekas and your Go Native, which are working very closely together, which will actually, still allow you to hang on to your Bitcoin, native Bitcoin, and give you really unique and clever ways to stake that. So, I'm super excited to hear from the guys.
Yeah, man, 100%. And before we do, guys, go give these guys a follow. It's going to be at Go Native CC. This is what they're all about. And they do have their website, gonative.cc right there. So without further ado, let's bring the guys up. Let's bring Robert. Let's bring Yao up. What's up, guys?
Hey, guys.
Oh,
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Yourself?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you so much for having us. Very excited to be here.
Yeah.
I know you guys been into this ecosystem right now, and we're very happy to receive you guys, and we're very happy to build on this amazing chain, and bring Bitcoin to every single and bring Bitcoin especially to Sui, but bring yield to every single person holding that Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually great. We've created a relationship at Tokyo with the native guys. I don't think I've ever seen them face to face, so this is quite great for me.
Correct.
As well. And
Correct.
we would have had, which is so great about streaming, but we would have had probably 20 or 30 conversations with these guys, and we work closely with them, and they've been integral to the Tokyo launch. So yeah, super happy to have you guys on. So why don't we start? I don't know, Shiz, do we do?
Let's talk about that Bitcoin.
We do the background here. Do we do some backgrounds here? And
yeah, I mean, I would love to get to know you guys. But that's one thing about like our show here. We love to know the person before we start knowing the product. So if you guys can give us a quick background, I would absolutely appreciate that.
Like, how did you get into crypto? How long have you been around? Like, where were you before this? That kind of stuff would be great.
yeah. Let's start with Chow, if you don't mind. Just as
Yep.
far back as you want to go. You don't have to go super far back, but what brought you to today?
For sure. So I don't have a lot of time in crypto compared to maybe probably everyone here. I started around 3 years ago, and I was just a college student interested and used Bitcoin for some odd stuff. I got into the community. You guys probably know, very decentralized tech. I started researching a little bit on a project, and essentially I was shilling their project, and I was very interested. I was like, why is this not going up? People need to I need to educate people on this project. So I started there, and I got into the team. Eventually they saw the work, got in from there, and this was like a Bitcoin related project already. This was a project that is deeply related to Bitcoin, and then I was working on a Bitcoin layer 2, and then last year I jumped over to native on the BD and partnership side of things. So I do everything. Every project that I've worked so far is always has been Bitcoin related. So joining native just made sense from that. And yeah, I guess personal things. I live in Portugal, so it's a pretty great city for crypto and for Bitcoin in general. And yeah, I think that's a little bit about me, and I'll pass it over to Robert.
Amazing.
Yeah, look, just to say to you, quick, Chow, too. a lot of people come into crypto from community aspects, and
Yeah.
I think that is a really, really great way of getting to learn crypto too. When you're in the communities, when you're, and we work in an environment or in a business where it is all about community. So learning from that way is, hats off to you, and it's a great way to learn about it. What about you, Robert? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, just maybe rephrase what you said about community. Yes, it's kind of an interesting aspect. I mean, many things that actually work in blockchain are related to a community, right? Because like the adoption of how everything was growing, right? The tokens, meme coins, NFTs. Now, without like discussing goods and bad of it, right? But the growth was really driven by a community. By Bitcoin is kind of a special, and we can also talk about it a little bit later. Yes, because in my opinion, like Bitcoin is the history of Bitcoin is unique. Yes, and far beyond the history of like general blockchain adoption. Yeah, my background is in computer science. I was working in commodity trading and then in private banking in Switzerland. And yeah, we had that early meetups about blockchain, about Bitcoin actually. The first meetups, the Bitcoin meetups. Yeah, and I joined them once a while, and at some point, I remember one of those meetups, late 2016. I decided to quit my job and do my first startup. So yeah, I was like I said, working here in the private banking, and then at that meetup I met a guy from commodity trading, energy, and we decided, okay, let's do a startup together that will use the power of blockchain, and that was for peer-to-peer energy trading, actually. So a real-world use case from people who really we've been working on similar areas for years, but we're way behind, ahead of the market in terms of the adoption, right? So yeah, so that was the first touch on the blockchain, and then I was contributing to Ethereum. I was co-author of GEF, the main Ethereum client. Lead engineering Cosmos, launched 3 Cosmos chains, and now yes, shipping native.
Yeah, look, it's we've all been there. I think we call that the go down the rabbit hole moment, when you sort of you chuck in your job and risk it all in a lot of cases to come over to crypto. And I was on a space with Bluefin, guys, that you would probably know, that was put on by Winston today, that you guys would know very well from your ecosystem. And a stat that came up just keeps resonating with me and rolling around my head constantly. The simple reality is that every time we unlock 1% of Bitcoin at the moment, we're unlocking in excess of $20 billion per percent in terms of potential yield. And we are still very, very early, when it comes to earning yield on Bitcoin. There are a lot of different methodologies that are rolling around in place at the moment. You've seen, XBTC, which has been put out by the OKX guys, doing huge volumes. I think it's the 5th largest token on Sui at the moment, which shows the kind of, the real kind of drive towards Bitcoin adoption over on Sui. But you guys have come at this from a very different approach, using those kind of MPC layers and looking to work with native Bitcoin. So do you want to kind of talk us through Go Native and, and what your methodology is and the approach that you guys are using, which I think is quite unique and really special?
Yes, it is. I can start talking about it more from the use case perspective. So the main problem we want to solve is how we can provide native access to Bitcoin, yes, to the multi-chain world. I'm multi-chain maxi. Obviously, we packed ourselves on Sui, so obviously I love Sui. I see a great potential there. And let me maybe set the stage for the thesis here, like the thesis that we are making. Who of you owns Bitcoin? I guess most of you, right? I mean, all of you own some Bitcoin. Who of
Yep.
you owns a Bitcoin because of the Bitcoin chain? Like, no, let me ask you that question. Like, do you even like, are you up to date what's happening with the Bitcoin chain? Like, you know, are you following it?
ecosystem?
No,
Yes.
the chain,
Go ahead.
like the updates. Like, you know,
Like
people are talking about, you know, let's say Ethereum upgrades, SUI updates.
oh
recently,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Seal
we're
was
familiar.
released.
We're familiar
Right,
with
like,
the
well,
core,
you know,
Bitcoin core and what they're kind of you know, talking about possibly, and then arguments back and forth,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. So who is buying a Bitcoin because of, you know, whatever is happening on the Bitcoin chain?
Zero.
I think
Nobody.
that's zero is that answer. Nobody.
Exactly. That's the right answer. Nobody. Right? Like people will buy Ethereum because, you know, they believe on some advancements on the chain and the ecosystem, you know, for one reason or another will settle some transactions, right? People buy Bitcoin because of the asset, because of the like some economical value around it, right? The adoption and the, you know, the uniqueness of it, the very, very conservative model. People believe in that want that conservative model. You know, traditional finance also, you know, sees that as an asset that, you know, there's limited supply and they know what they buy. Yeah, so it's very clear perception of an asset. So that's our thesis. Bitcoin is as an ecosystem is very conservative. People not buying Bitcoin because of the Bitcoin ecosystem, they're buying Bitcoin because of the asset, right? And here is, you know, like what we actually do. Okay, so now how you can use it Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin should be used in the applications or in the ecosystem. That's our thesis again, second thesis, which is able to attract builders, users, and capital, right? And now you can ask yourself, is you know, like, you know, where is today the ecosystem that is able to attract builders, users, and capital? Yeah, Ethereum, Solana, or Sui.
I'd say Sui, and that's only just because we are massive, and I think I think it's a combination of all. But I think we've seen a massive.
Yeah, but objectively speaking, yes. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, we don't need to be, you know, it's Ethereum, Solana, and Sui is now the most emerging market, right? Sui is experiencing today the moment of like Solana was experiencing in 2021.
Yeah, I was going to say all of those, right? Because but I think that Solana, Sui feels like Solana sort of 2.0 to me. When you look at the way in which, you know, the move language is being constructed, you've still got that in a lot of cases sub-second finality. But it feels like a more mature version of Solana. You know, Solana really grew from an NFT and meme culture, and there was a lot of that going on Solana, and still is, you know, which I do think there's a place for that, you know. But I feel like Sui has now matured to a level that you see more sophisticated builders building more sophisticated financial products, and I think that is what helps unlock Bitcoin.
I agree with that, right? But, you know, that's why we parked on Sui. But this is exactly what we do now, right? So we are trying to match, you know, like with those two theses that we are making, right? How we can provide the best access. And then we can talk about, you know, what are the possible ways, yes? MPC technically is not a good thing, right? So MPC has many loopholes that actually are dangerous, are anti the blockchain thesis. The blockchain thesis, you know, is trust, verifiability. MPC doesn't provide you that, right?
Yep.
So that's why, like, MPC, like, it exists for many years. I mean, it was actually not efficient. The first company that made it efficient and combined with a blockchain was Internet Computer. But here's the revolution of Fika that came in, right, that I was working with. That we created the first ever non-collusive MPC. And this is the game changer. Because now with this revolution, the non-collusive MPC, we are able to bring it to the blockchain world. And the way how I like to explain it, you know, what blockchain revolutionized? Blockchain revolutionized two things. No, so one was already said here, trust. Yes, and the second thing is the the trustless compute, right? And the second thing is the access. So you can permissionlessly access and participate in the system, right? Like Bitcoin gives you that. Like you can use your Bitcoin. However, the compute is ultra reduced. So so those are the very key important, like primitives here. And now, can you apply it to Bitcoin? So the answer is not today. Yes. Can I use Bitcoin as a Web3 native asset in Sui or Solana or Ethereum? No, you can't. You will always have some trade-offs. But with this revolution, yes, the non-collusive MPC, we can keep those trust principles or trustless principles and permissionless compute. So we don't need to do that trade-off. Because then it doesn't matter that you will use your Bitcoin or Ethereum or Sui or whatever. If the weakest point, like usually like whenever you a security perspective or a risk analysis, the first thing you want to analyze, what's the weakest point? Because this is the point that people will attack. This is the point which will break, first to break, right? And this is what we don't want. Like if I'm a Bitcoin holder, I'm not holding Bitcoin because
For fun, yeah. In some cases, it's people's retirement plan, right? It's it's people.
What I'm saying is that I believe in the vision, right? I believe in the vision that this is like this asset that really holds to its true ethos. It has its ethos. Many people. This is also the community aspect. This is how the community was built, through the ethos. Community is not built like through the weak words. Bitcoin community was built through the ethos. Blockchain community was built through the ethos. I mean, many communities are actually that there is an ethos behind it. Yeah, and this is the key message here, right? We want to hold that ethos. Yes,
Robert, I have a quick question for you about the MPC, and I forgot what you called the MPC, but I know it's the one that Ika is using. Is it
MPC, non-collusive MPC?
Oh, collusive
Two-party
MPC.
computation multiparty.
Yeah. So is it completely trustless, or is it like is it extremely trust minimized?
Yeah. So I mean, we could argue for it. I think endlessly, depending with who you discuss about it, right? I mean, the goal is to get like extremely trust minimized.
Yeah.
So nothing is technically trustless. If you use your Bitcoin wallet, sometimes I'm giving you this example, right? Your application, like you are not running the Bitcoin node. Yes, you can have actually the Bitcoin Lite client on your mobile, but then it is connected to to a network. I can do some Eclipse attack and cheat your mobile and let's say send you the Bitcoin and say, okay, yes, I send you a Bitcoin. I want your car. I buy your car or whatever your property with a Bitcoin. Maybe you will wait 1 hour, right? But there are some attacks that are possible that you will have a hard time to verify.
Sure.
Right. So even though you have like a self custody on your mobile with your key, the information that the mobile receives could be wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that what Ika is building, like we're with you guys, is actually the solution, like the innovative solution to the standard MPC, right? So you want to get closer and closer to making it as as trust minimized as possible. And it seems like that's where you guys are going. And I'm hearing great things about it, and I wonder if it could scale with other solutions as well, like other layers and stuff. I know Sui's kind of focused on it right now, but is this something that you think this approach could work for other layers, or just is it to Sui specifically?
Yeah, good question, right? We can break it down. I mean, what we need there, for parts of the system, for layers of the system. So obviously layer 1 is Bitcoin, right? Then the next one is a proving layer. That's what we build. The third one is the I call it orchestration verification layer. That can be implemented everywhere, right? We can implement it on Solana, we can implement it on Ethereum. We decided to do it on Sui yes, that's our focus, because we see the really strong potential there. And then the fourth layer, right, is going back. Yeah. So whenever with this proving layer and the verification layer, you can do any operation you want. You can take the output of a Bitcoin transaction or effect, whatever changed there. You can simulate the script. You can execute a script. You can deploy a script. Yeah. So it's way more powerful than a bridge, right? Because you have a full reasoning. You can really full whole model of a Bitcoin, not like a bridge, right? Our solution is bridgeless. And based on that, yes, you can do some outcome, right? So let's say I paid you on Bitcoin. I didn't pay you on Sui. I paid you on Bitcoin, my native Bitcoin, yes, to your Bitcoin key. Yeah, token doesn't move. And now I can do maybe some outcome on Sui. Let's say Sui smart contract will settle the deal, right? I settle the payment in the same way. Well, let's say we have a credit card system, right? The MasterCard will settle a purchase, but the shop will settle the shopping, so the order, right?
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
here's the same thing. Yes, I can have, let's say, the a shop, right? Or on Sui, yes, but or some money market or real estate agency on Sui, but maybe the whole payment I just want to keep natively on Bitcoin. So this is possible with our technology. That's also where the name comes from. We enable the Web3 native access to Bitcoin, and there are multiple models how we can do it depending on the use case. Fully natively on Bitcoin with a synthetic asset on Sui, so we can represent the coins on Sui, or also a zero trust model with a UTXO. And going deep into the tech, what I'm trying to say is that it's a key message here. It's all of it is a bridgeless solution, and the main power of it is keeping those ethos, those principles of Bitcoin. That there is that the trust is really inherited by the trustless system. Yeah, so the Bitcoin in Sui in this case. And then going back, as this is the where actually everything usually fails. How we can let's say if we if there is no if the operation doesn't start from Bitcoin but the operation starts from Sui, right? So let's say I'm trading with you, I'm selling you a Bitcoin but through Sui, and now you want to get that Bitcoin back from, let's say, a smart contract to your another wallet on Bitcoin. Yeah, so how we establish, how we keep the the trust principles. So usually you want to call it trustless. Yeah? So you don't need to trust me. You don't need to trust any bridge, any custody, any middleman. So here is where this non-collusive MPC comes in, right? And that's the ultra important part, because every other single solution out there in the market, MPC solution is collusive. And this is the first one that is non-collusive. So we are able to keep what I start highlighting here at the beginning is the Web3 native principles. So this is possible today, let's say, between I don't know, Ethereum and Ethereum L2, let's say Arbitrum. But it's not possible today between, let's say, I don't know, like any other, let's say, Bitcoin sidechain. There's always some trade-off.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I wanted to add there is that Robert was teasing us before he said, the native solution, which was kind of the big part. So that was fun to watch. I guess to add on that and to add on what Robert said is, as an easy explanation of what we're building, is we're essentially building the most advanced Bitcoin interoperability protocol on the market, and because we're allowing BTCFi in a Web3 native way. And when Robert says Web3 native way, and when we say Web3 native way, that's in a decentralized, trust minimized, and non-collusive way. So that's the easiest way to think about native. But this is one thing that I also like to mention, because this is the technology that we have, that native is building with the ICA, with D wallets, and with 2PC MPC and all of that. But what does this actually allow for the users, because that's the most important thing. What we allow for the users is an easy way, a one-click way for users to get yield on their Bitcoin in a most secure and simple way possible. We can get into that, but I just want to make that clear, because there's a distinction between, okay, we're building this most advanced interoperability protocol, which people can build upon as well. People can use our technology to build Bitcoin products, but we also are building the front end, or the front door for the all of the Bitcoin users
Yeah.
that want to put their Bitcoin to yield.
It has
So
to be
in a
simple, right, and
practical-
solid.
In a practical way, yeah, what like talk us through I suppose the aggregation of different yield products that are available on Sui, and what the user experience would look like. Tokyo very involved in this space as well. But what would the experience look like? You're sitting there with a native Bitcoin in your wallet. You've got access. You've got all of these great yield products over on Sui, and sometimes some quite complex recipes to get different APRs. To simplify it for the user, does you've got your native Bitcoin sitting there. Do you apply your native Bitcoin to those products? Does it leave your wallet? Exactly, how's it solved in the middle? What is the finality like in terms of when does it settle? Is there a cost going in? How is the yield removed once you're at the end of your journey? So give a kind of overview of what that looks like.
Yeah, I can take that. I mean,
I know I'm probably
the-
I know you guys are still building too, and I know I'm probably a few steps ahead here, but I think we're getting to that point now. And the audience, I think the big question they want to ask, that they want answered, is that I've got my native Bitcoin here. How do I put it to work? What happens when I do put it to work? What is it? Is there a cost attached to that? And how do I get my funds out? And is it secure? Like that. That's kind of the we're all we all work in the industry, and we we're sort of crypto natives, I suppose, to some degree. But I would suggest that the big audience for us to unlock as builders is all of the holders of Bitcoin that don't have probably the skill sets to go on to Sui and find those complex sort of yield recipes at the moment.
Exactly.
And really,
yeah.
So that's our big audience. That's what's to come. So what does the experience look like for someone like that?
Yeah, so I think this is, I think I'm 100% sure, yes, this is the combination of many building blocks. We are ourselves not building the, we are building the end user experience, but we are not building, let's say, the DeFi factory.
Yeah.
Right. We are not the factory here. Right. So we want to provide an easy interface for a user, where a user goes in, has his Bitcoin, and with a single click, can interact with an application, yes, without going through the route of setting up yet another wallet, finding a token for a gas, and understanding how navigate what to install and what to click.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about the journey now. Sorry to interject there, but for somebody to put Bitcoin to work now, let's say, shout out to the dog community, being that we're on Bitcoin because they're so massive. But let's say you're a dog holder, right? You go from holding dog, to swapping that for Bitcoin, to bridging that on a centralized exchange, to investing into a Sui yield project, which is Scallop or Navi or or Bluefin or Typus or any of those products, for example. Getting the yield over there, getting paid back out in their liquid staking token, switching that back into Sui, switching that back into a native, from via a centralized exchange, from Sui to Bitcoin, right, to going back to dog to the moon. That's a very long journey. Right. And a lot of people, I think, you lose in that journey and go, this is all too hard. Right. So I think that what we're all trying to work on, and I sort of say Tokyo native Eca and, some of the other projects I mentioned before, is simplifying that journey. So how do those different products come together to simplify that journey and stop that centralized bridging, say, for example? And, what does that look like? Do you get where I'm coming from, Robert?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I thought that I will already kind of explain that. So our mission here, yes, is provide like the interface, and then under the hood, we are happy to work with Tokeo, with any other application aggregators. So the end user experience is okay how he enters, and then there are many different plugs. Who wants to provide, I don't know, like an aggregator experience, who wants to provide like a wallet experience, who wants to provide I don't know, some AI experience. Yeah, so there are many different ways. Yes, okay. What we do, okay, here is okay, here we're handling the user. Here's how you can inject your API or your widget or whatever, and then this is how it should work. User from the Bitcoin side, the user should use his Bitcoin wallet and be able through those different integration directly use let's call it any of these widgets.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter okay, is this like a direct connection to a Navi, is it connection through another wallet? User will decide based on his tool preference, right? Every sub community, every like region may have a different preference. That's why we have so many also different tools. Yes, the key here is like okay, it has to be simple for a user. Okay, and this is the mission, and doing in a Web3 native way, without compromising on security and decentralization.
Yeah, that's the big key phrase that you use, the good user experience. And I know that like there's been this kind of arms race to figure out what is the best interoperability approach. And I actually think not just because you guys are on the show, but I think that the innovative MPC approach is the best approach, because if you try to use the zero knowledge approach and all these things, you're still going to mask these trust assumptions. You can maybe minimize it a bit, but unless Bitcoin upgrades core and adds some sort of like covenant type of ability with like OpCTV or OpCat is the dream, right? But that's going to be a hard thing. So I actually love the MPC non-collusive approach, because what you're doing is you're decentralizing the heck out of the MPC process, and that is, in my opinion, the best approach, because that's the best that we have right now with Bitcoin Core. I don't know, am I off on that, Robert?
No, that's a good way to think about it, right? Like in a way how the blockchain itself disrupts the compute. Yeah, so you don't need to trust compute like a compute provider, right? We are disrupting the trust in the, let's say, wallet management. We can be like this meta wallet in a different way than, for example, what you guys are thinking, Tokeo. Yes, but really like this plugging mechanism. Okay, you can plug any mechanism. Okay, and here is the API for various interfaces.
Yep. And you're basically satisfying these crazy Bitcoin maxis that are like, oh, well, there's so many trust assumptions. No, there's not really, because we're decentralizing the MPC process, and we're just focusing on the user experience. And I think that's something that Tokeo kind of plugs in with you guys. And you just want to give, at the end of the day, mass adoption is about make my life easier. But then you have the people that are like, oh, security. But if you can shut those people up, then you can focus on make my life easier. And that's what we need.
I mean, obviously there will be people who, will, I mean, to be honest, most of the people don't care about that security, right? They will care about, the user experience. But, the end goal is to combine the both. This is the end game, definitely. And I want to add maybe one more thing here. Yes, is you mentioned zero knowledge. So actually, with zero knowledge, we can get a full trustless model, 100% trustless model, right?
So MPC plus zero knowledge.
Right. So maybe it's also worth to tackle here a little bit. Starknet is doing amazing work, lobbying the covenants to enable that, but just with zero knowledge, we won't have a fully trustless model. If you
Hmm.
add a zero knowledge only, yes, you can have a full verifiability of some computation happening.
Gotcha. In the
But
current state of Bitcoin, could you do that? The current state, or would you
No.
need to wait
No,
till?
no,
Okay,
no,
so
no,
you
no.
need covenants added to the
Correct.
core. Gotcha.
Yeah, but even like I'm saying that, for example, for Starknet to make it to have a fully zero trust assumption, you would need to like do more complex things. So that's like going back to studies. What is NL2? What is a rollup? Data availability? How you make sure like if Starknet get nuked, your funds are safe. Right, so there's there's all different assumptions because Starknet is operating as a sequencer, and L2, right? It's not a decentralized sequencer, right? So they may censor you. Like I said, they can get nuked, and then the whole things fall apart. Yes, like I said, I believe more in the multi-chain world, many L1s, and there's a principle of L1, right? That it's sufficiently decentralized, so it's much harder to attack than, let's say, a single node, right? That is running it. So it doesn't matter if that single node will produce the zero knowledge proof, if it will censor you. You are basically locked, right? Or if it's like there is a data error or whatever, or how you can recover. So there are many additional assumptions that you need to have, and we basically are going in a more, let's call it a traditional route. And okay, this is just basically an L1, very, very powerful L1. That will be very hard to match with, SUI in this case. And this is the most conservative, the most powerful asset, Bitcoin, that is running on, the most decentralized network.
Yeah.
So,
I want to bring this a little bit more high level because Guido had a few questions that I just want to clarify and make sure they're kind of said here because we were talking about build, and I think going back to that
Mhm.
conversation where build is essentially the front end or the front door for the all of the users, all of the Bitcoin users, right? And this is where we're working directly with Tokeo, right? This is where we see the opportunities where they lie, right? Because we want to give a easy user experience to all of the Bitcoin holders that use Tokeo. So build itself, we're aiming to be like we've been talking here to be one click. So the one click functionalities is you connect your Bitcoin wallet. And you select one of the options that you want to put in the work, in this case the DeFi protocols. You select one of the DeFi protocols, and once you select that, you one click deposit into any of these protocols. So the idea is that we want to make it super seamless, and the users don't have to really understand DeFi, or they don't have to um, do themselves the lending, the borrowing, or they have to manage the strategies, or they have to do all of the range
Right.
management, etc. Right? So this is what we're actually aiming for. And in terms of the user flow that Guido was asking is, this is, and Robert can touch on this a little bit as well, in already touched, which is the trust minimized part, where the Bitcoin itself, when they use our solution, it doesn't leave the Bitcoin network. Like the Bitcoin stays on Bitcoin because we use this D wallet. So the user will send when he signs a transaction on Build, that Bitcoin is then sent over to this D wallet, which is MPC based. So it's fully non-custodial in the sense of there's not a single point of failure. And then there's the whole SPV relayer part where
Yeah, there.
you don't need a bridge operator to do all of this and mint and BTC on SUI. So this whole architecture is basically as trust minimized as possible. And also we have the part where you verify. You don't have to trust native. You don't have to trust native in almost any component in our stack. It's basically you can verify everything. You can be secure. So this is the level of security you want to go to.
I think it's a very good point that you raised, Jao. That Bitcoin stays native and stays, even though it's locked in a D wallet, for example.
Yes.
You are holding your Bitcoin, and that is a very different product, I feel, to to synthetic or wrapped
Correct.
tokens, where you're actually selling your Bitcoin for a wrapped token and then doing another exchange, right? So the signing process here feels very different, right? So when you are staking your Bitcoin, you've got the security that it is sitting there and it's locked, so it's almost vaulted, if you like. And then it's giving you the ability to use a, in this case, NBTC, which is a native token over on Sui, and giving interaction with all of those great Sui projects. As you said, Jao, as well, like, we were kind of talking about the onboarding of the next, unlocking 1% of Bitcoin holders. I'd be interested to see how many Bitcoin are held by degens and crypto natives out of the entire stack, because I would suggest that it would probably be, it's got to be maybe 5 or 10%. In my view, I don't have that stat with me, but it wouldn't be the bulk of it, right? It would be the bulk are held by.
Would you consider a Bitcoin maxi, or sorry, like not maxi, but a Bitcoin whale a degen or not? As someone who has like 99.9% of his wealth in Bitcoin.
No,
Is he a degen or not?
I probably
No.
wouldn't.
He's very smart.
I probably wouldn't consider. He's very smart. If we want to put a persona
Smart
around
because of what?
Yeah, he's
What makes him
very smart, and it's probably someone who got into Bitcoin really early and hodled Bitcoin. But are they in there trading, native tokens and looking for yield products and are active in crypto communities? I would probably say in a big case, no, they're not. I would say that they are smart.
And then let me change the question. Let's say if I have 99% of my wealth is in ETH.
Yep.
Right, in ETH, and I'm also maybe even more rich than, in dollar terms. Yes, I have more of that than that Bitcoin whale. Am I a degen or not?
It's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question, and I would say that you would be erring more on the side of yes, right? But I'm talking about, if you look at, let's use the Sui ecosystem as an example. Some of the projects that I mentioned before, like the list goes on there: Nemo, Bluefin, Typus, Scallop, Navi, Aftermath. It goes there. There are so many complex products over there. To go for a standard Bitcoin user to go in and and understand those protocols, understand how the lending and borrowing vaults work, understand liquid staking versus native staking. All of those things are quite complex, and I think are probably more, are more relevant to to degens or to crypto natives than they would be for standard investors who say that, we've saved up some money and we believe in that Bitcoin is digital gold. There is a finite amount. They're not making any more of it, and that Bitcoin over time is going to go to $1 million, which I think anyone who's been around for a little while believes. What I think we have as an opportunity is to simplify those yield products, which is what Tokyo is working on, into a really, into a very simple way. Still provide the information and, still make it very clear in terms of what the investment is. But we want to create a recipe where, people can go along and say, hey, I get this. It is maybe the APR on this product is 20%. That's very high. It does rely on, some of these different cogs fitting in the engine. And I can dig deeper and find some more information about that, but there's a risk profile to that, and I'm prepared to put my Bitcoin against it.
Right. So this is actually what I was about to say. Right? This is where the Tokyo solution comes in. Yes, to play, to handle that that problem off from the user and making it easy. Yes, okay, I have my Bitcoin, but what I can do with it? Yes, who will provide me easy analysis? Yes, who is my Robin Hood here?
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think that, look, I still think that there's a window of time, Robert, before the centralized environment is not really accessing these projects. I don't feel are accessing these, a lot of the Sui projects. They're starting to. So, and the wrap token around, say, OKX, which has been widely adopted, is one methodology. But I still think that we have a really big window of time, and we've got a lot of Bitcoin in yield still to unlock. Like, in terms of the amount of Bitcoin that is sitting dormant compared to what's at use at the moment, the real challenge for us is taking this product to the new users.
So
and
absolutely. So this is why I was like also doing a thesis, right? I mean, I was posting about a few of those theses. I told you about 2 theses. There is also a third thesis, yes. Community thesis. Yeah. So what makes a community? So a strong ecosystem, yes, where people can actually play, interact, and make money. Right? Does Bitcoin have a? So let me also. Does a Bitcoin have a strong ecosystem?
I can. Well, I'd love to answer this. I think that Bitcoin has an ecosystem, and for the first time, a robust on-chain economy in 2023 with ordinals and BRC20s and runes.
It started.
But it started, and it opened people's eyes. But I do think that because of the nature of Bitcoin's limitations, that was easily starting to split up because now new fungible token standards came out and stuff like that. So what I think like Sui and stuff like that could do is actually kind of create even more of like a stronger community that has these ability to play, because we get the liquidity siphoned a lot in our ecosystem. But short answer, Bitcoin does have an ecosystem and a community, and they like to degen, but it could be so much stronger. The potential could be so much stronger.
Exactly, that's my point, right? Like, if you compare the ecosystem, Sui, for example, yes, or Ethereum, Bitcoin ecosystem is far behind. Like there is like the community, yes, it's very, it's specific, it's limited. It's like, okay, the community, okay, Bitcoin holder. I mean, if I own my dollars, am I a American community? Not at all. Right? If I have some gold, am I like a gold community? No.
No, not at all.
I mean,
not at all.
But if I
is
hold,
about the usage.
If I hold a, let's say a node monkey or a Taproot wizard, which are, technically Satoshis, I'm still a Bitcoin holder, even if I just hold ordinals. So that's a little bit of pushback, right?
I think here is more about the usage, right? Like, this is like where, in my opinion, the next level of community comes in. Yeah. So the community has to like really play, make money, interact, do the stuff. Right?
I mean, I can make money buying a Taproot wizard for 0.2 and selling it for 0.4.
Obviously,
yeah, but
and that's what Yogi B was saying. That's what it started, right? What I'm saying is that now you can go to the next level.
Yeah, look, let me give you a different slant on this. Like, we're still talking about that kind of degen community when we're talking about tap wizards and stuff, right? Let's look at this from an IRL perspective. Bitcoin starts getting, I spend a bit of time in Dubai. We have a business that's in Dubai. When I'm paying for accommodation in Dubai, I pay with Bitcoin, right? Or I pay with USDC. There are bars in or hospitality venues that accept either Bitcoin or USDC or Tether, right? For example, there are soon, or they're popping up all over the place are environments where you've got music or culture or that are allowing you to start paying directly with crypto, right? That is happening. So that kind of brings you into the crypto community, and you start using things like, it's not just about hodling Bitcoin, but it's about saying that I'm starting to use my cryptocurrency not as just as an investment instrument, but as an alternative to living life with fiat, right? So that is like having a bank with a fiat bank account with savings in it that either deplete or go up and down in terms of that balance. Now, for the rest of your balance, if there is an environment where you can select that, I trust this protocol, and while I'm not, for any Bitcoin that I don't spend, and we're talking about the Bitcoin argument here, or any ETH that I don't spend, or any Solana I don't spend, I have that nominated to a pool generating interest. in a much more favorable way. Because if you look at fiat interest, in TradFi, it's paid on an annual basis and it's very low, right? So if you're holding, 100 grand worth of Bitcoin, which is in the real possibilities for a lot of people in terms of savings, and you're earning, say, a 10% APR, you're earning $10,000 a year, which is constantly propping up your account, for you to spend on
Not
real
bad.
world.
And then if Bitcoin appreciates, for X, then
That's right.
that's changing to 40,000.
That's right. That's right. So you're getting that uplift. But I feel like adoption, when we're talking about the non-degen adoption, comes from people comes from real world goods and services being available for purchase with crypto, or with leading crypto tokens, and having that constantly working, and that being the economy, right? Rather than the constant on and off ramping. In which case, crypto has done an incredible job in terms of paying yield, because there are a lot of yield products that pay daily or monthly or weekly, or, instead of waiting for a very small annual return on a depleting balance that sits in a fiat account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think speaking about, those will get automated. Yeah, people will like to see it next year, but in my opinion, it will take at least 5 more years. So we won't see anymore the off ramp and on ramp. People will not talk about it. They will just use mobile for payments. People already use mobile for payments. Like I switched from credit card to mobile payment. I mean, like even in the shop or whatever. Yeah, tap to pay, and simpler, right?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
there's still like a majority of people using the card, or some people use still a cash. But there's already a transition to the mobile, and once the transition to the mobile, it doesn't matter. What is there? Is it a credit card linked? Is it a crypto wallet linked? All of these layers will be unified. I mean, sorry, not unified, but they will work together. Visa invested like 4 or 5 years ago millions, yes, to do that. There is a lot of work done by major financial institutions. I mean, like the biggest news of when was that, a week ago, the Tempo chain, yes, from Stripe. Stripe is one of the biggest fintech payment processor. They're building their own blockchain, yeah. So give it a few more years, and there won't be any more on ramp and off ramp. It's just a payment layer.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So what you're saying, Robert, is we're still very early.
Well, it's changing, right? Like there's always early for something, right? Like in the next 10 years, there will be something new that will be early.
Yeah.
It's like we have this moments in the history, like 20 years ago, there was a dot-com boom that most of the people don't remember, and people were early there. Then there was a Web 2.0, people were early there. Yes, and in 2010. Blockchain started, we're early there. Now AI, there's always something early.
Yeah.
There will be like a new protocols coming in the blockchain will be early on.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we might switch to, I suppose, I found the conversation riveting. I don't know about you, Shiz and Ugobi. Like it's
it was great.
Interesting. And you've articulated the product really well. But Robert, why don't you tell us? Well, I'm conscious of time. Why don't you tell us where exactly are you with Native? Where like I know you guys are getting reasonably close. And then we've got the wheel coming up. So where are you guys?
Yeah.
So where are you guys at in terms of getting to mainnet? And what's the first product off the rank, and what does the next 6 months look like for you guys?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We are wrapping up for the audit. We are about to release the next testnet version.
Yep.
Then there will be one more testnet, and then shipping a mainnet. Yeah, we do our best to do it this year.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic.
So I mean, like we are on the track to do it this year. I mean, at the beginning, to be frank with you, yes, we wanted to launch it end of Q3, so end of September. But that was I mean, we are not that far, yes, from let's say from that roadmap. But when you asked us when we were launching a mainnet in March, that was end of September. We have a little bit of push. It's a little bit harder, but yeah, we're getting there.
It's a complex product, and I get it. And you guys are doing an amazing job. I'm a bit closer to it than I suppose our audience would be, and speak to the eager guys a lot. So we're very proud of what you guys are doing. You've got our support from over on the Bitcoin side, and you've been an amazing guest, and we thank you and Jao for coming on. And I know he had to drop, but it's been great to have you. And we look forward to hearing many great things to come from Native.
I want to emphasize a little bit more about the community that we were talking about. I copy pasted a tweet. I'm not sure if you had the chance to look at it. Would love to get your comments if you agree or don't agree.
So I took a quick look at it, and I completely agree with you. Shizzy and I had this thesis that these Bitcoin Layer 1 assets would really thrive and grow only if there's other layers that can help scale because of the current limitations of Bitcoin. And I completely agree with this post. It says, my Bitcoin community thesis: communities are formed around user markets. Bitcoin community will be formed on powerful L1 chains that will bring use to Bitcoin. That's always been me and Shizzy's thesis. Yeah, user communities, and I mean, I agree with that. But I think right now there is this kind of searching for the dominant fungible token standard and stuff like that. But the layers, the layer 1, SUI, for example, and stuff, that doesn't matter for you guys as long as you guys keep building these solutions with the MPC, non-collusive MPC solution, the trust minimized solution, and another L1 builds another strong interoperability solution. Because once the standard, the fungible token standard on Bitcoin Layer 1 really stands out and shows, whether that's runes or whatever it is, then you guys will already be ready to kind of take that on once it's there. So I agree with
100%. Yes. So now, I mean, we are not against anything happening on Bitcoin. Yes, we want to take it to the next level, right? You can have your rune on Bitcoin recorded. Now, how you can efficiently use it, how you can make a power-ups to it, right? Again, this is the fact. Communities there has to be a good, efficient usage, right? There's a community around the sport because there are people practicing that sport and people loving watching it or whatever, right? Drinking a beer. Right.
Yep.
So the same thing here, right? No, the ecosystem has to be powerful. The reason I ask for it, yes, to have some comment about this thesis about communities need a user market. Yes, is we launched a campaign called Believers. That we can believe that this Bitcoin finance will happen, and all those theses I was mentioning here. And last thesis I want to tell you guys is that nobody can do it alone.
Yeah, no, that's right. 100%.
Yes, Bitcoin is so powerful, so big. If you want to have a good, if you want to build a good user market, there has to be a big ecosystem work. We cannot do it alone. We can build the best product, but we are too small.
Yeah.
Right? Even the SUI foundation is too small. Even Ethereum foundation is too small, right? There has to be a whole ecosystem collaboration to build that user market.
Yeah, I think we're getting there.
That's my call to action here. I know, Tokeo, you are doing the great job, talking about Bitcoin, and thanks for having an interest in native. Really, I'm
Awesome,
happy about that.
Yeah,
us too. That's the mission. If you want to go to the next level, yes, we need to build that ecosystem. Yes, and the ecosystem is many parties working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the business we're in, right? That we're so lucky that collaboration is alive and well in crypto. I echo your sentiments. Us too are very excited to be working with the native team. We got on well with you guys straight away, and we're super excited to see what's coming down the pipe and to be part of it. So, yeah, it's been absolutely awesome to have you on, Robert, and we really look forward to continuing a relationship. And as you guys, certainly on the BTC Zone, as you guys start rolling out products, we'd love to have you back on and continue to hear more about what you guys have got to offer. And if we can help individually in any way, I know that we're working with you at Tokyo, but if you, she's in Ugovia, good friends at Tokyo. Yeah, the part of that
Amazing.
community.
Absolutely. Thanks for that invite. I want to maybe close also here with this one note. We're talking here about Sui, right? I mean, it's also good to have some observation there. So why many of those Bitcoin sidechains failed? They failed because they were not able to build the users.
Yeah.
Yes. Sui has tons of users. Solana has tons of users. We already have that market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we already have a one-way through. I mean, we just need to do the second step, link it together, match those, those use cases.
For sure. Awesome.
Let's do that.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. Good.
Yeah, appreciate it. Awesome and great to speak. We'll talk offline. Thanks, mate.
Yep. And guys, go check out Go Native CC is their X account, and you go follow Robert at Robert Zaremba. Is that right?
Zaremba.
Zaremba. So go follow him there, and then Yao as well. So I'll have everything for you guys in the show notes if you guys want to check that out later as well. But thank you so much, Robert, man. We really appreciate you here.
Thank you, OnChain Revolution. It was so great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what, guys.
That was a good.
I'll tell you what, guys. The BT Zone guests just keep delivering. Like, they're so educational, and for me, it's just I just love these sessions. It really is bringing different approaches to and different people's viewpoints, and to have a guy like that who was so passionate about building users and community, and and is really fighting for the greater good. Look, I absolutely loved it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I knew instantly once Robert was talking that I was going to get in kind of a deep conversation with him. So I was like, oh no, I don't want to lose the audience, but it's fun talking to someone that has that, he's a, computer science major, right? So he's a developer and programmer by nature. So he has a lot of these kind of, ethos that match up with Bitcoin's ethos. And I think he's that's the kind of builder that you want to build a product that's in a layer one that's trying to scale Bitcoin. 100%. He has the Bitcoin ethos. He has the knowledge, the know-how. He knows what needs to happen. That's why he's a part of this, new MPC approach of really just decentralizing it as much as possible, right? And so it was a really fun conversation for me, and hopefully for the audience as well. And you guys obviously, got into that conversation deep as well, and it was just fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm just going to do a I don't know whether you guys have been watching the comments, but someone thinks I look like George Clooney.
I saw that. I was like, okay.
Come on, guys. You know what? Mate, I think I need to lose the skivvy and maybe jump in a t-shirt for our next session.
100%. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, this has been absolutely awesome, Guido, man. Thank you so much for putting this together. You guys don't know, Guido actually finds us the guests. It's really weird because me and Yaga, we get to find the guests, but we're lucky enough on the BTC Zone to have someone amazing like you to kind of find the guests for us, bring them to the show, and you work with these people. So the relationship that from builder to builder is one of the deepest relationships out there because you guys are in business together, technically, right? So that's the biggest part. But I just want to say thank you for putting this together, and we'd love to give you stage one last time.
Awesome. I reckon we've been on for a while today, so let's spin the wheel and make a deal.
Let's do it.
We have these are the people that have tuned in. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. If you don't know already, on the next BTC Zone, we will be giving away some tote tokens on every show. Let's spin it. There's 10,000 tote to give away today. Let's hit the button. Let's go.
Yep. And so just so you guys know, for next time as well, all you got to do is put a comment in the chat. We should have been more clear with that, and I'll take that on me. At the beginning of the show, I'll start saying one comment in the chat, and I'll add you. So everyone on this list has put a comment in the chat here, and then we're going to give this.
I want Dicky over Sashi to win it, right?
Because he gave you that amazing compliment.
Oh no, let me make sure that
he's the one who said I look like George.
So there is a couple that I did miss, and I apologize. They must have came in towards the end here. But let me just add a few of these, and then there's a Thomas. DEQ
Quincy.
UNCY. Yeah, so
I think that's probably
N in there somewhere, right? Yeah, it's right there. All right, cool. All right, I think I got everyone now. Yep, I got everyone now. All right, guys, spin it.
Good luck, good luck, good luck. 10,000 toke up for grabs.
Is it the chief?
Oh,
Kasami Sui.
Kazami Sui, man. I thought Chief
well
Axel was gonna win that.
Yeah, open up Kazami. All you got to do is open up a Tokeo wallet, shoot us your address for ADA transfers, so your Cardano address, and we'll shoot those token across to you. Those will be coming out real soon. If you just want to communicate with me, you can do that via Twitter, actually, if you want, or Telegram. So on Telegram, it would be Guido_Tokyo or Mr_Guido on Twitter, and we can organize that on our end. But yeah, thanks, guys. Another great show. What can I say? I love these shows. It is literally one of the favorite parts of my week, and my week is long. So thanks a lot, guys, and it's been awesome.
Yep, for sure. Appreciate you, Guido. And remember, tune in every Tuesday at 11 p.m. UTC. Is it? Yep, 11 p.m. UTC. And, Guido's done a great job getting the guests there. We'll continue that. And 10,000 tokens will be up for grabs next Tuesday as well. So appreciate you guys. Go ahead.
Anyone who has any guest ideas too, you can reach out to me on X via my X account and let me know. I've already approached someone for next week. They're a super special guest. I'll keep that under wraps at the moment. Just waiting on timings and stuff like that. But yeah, any guest ideas, let us know, and tune in, same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Love it. All right, guys. Go ahead, Shizzy.
Now I was just going to say, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. See you guys.